Sziasztok! Our bodies hold a lot of wisdom when it comes to sustainability. Let's test that. I'd like you to get a piece of paper and a pen, whether you are online watching at the moment or if you are in the room here. Just a piece of paper and a pen. And on this piece of paper, just draw a line down the center of your page. And in the top right-hand corner, write the word future. And in the top left, you write the word present. So a line down the middle of your page, future in the top right, and the word present in the top left. And we're going to begin on the right-hand side of this page. I would like you to imagine a future that is working for everyone, for all species, humans and non-human species alike, an economy that's working for everyone. Imagine that future, and now once you've imagined it, feel it. How does it feel in that economy that's working for everyone? And when you have connected with the feeling, draw a symbol or a shape without lifting your pen that represents how it feels. Draw a symbol or a shape that represents how it feels in that economy that is working for everyone. Okay, and now we move to the present. How does the present economy feel? Draw a symbol or a shape without lifting your pen that represents how the present economy feels. Okay. I've been conducting this experiment for about 8 years all around the world across all different kinds of demographics, age, ideological, political background, gender, wealth, and it doesn't matter where you're coming from. People consistently draw one of 4 things for the future and one of 4 things for the present, or a close variation. For the future, they either draw a circle, an infinity symbol, a spiral, or a heart. Hands up if you drew something similar to this. I know some people did the experiment. Okay. And then for the present, people draw a jagged line, a triangle, a downward arrow, or a mess of lines. Again, if you drew something similar, you can put up your hand. So, to me, this is fascinating. It doesn't matter what your background, which country you're in, which economic system you are exposed to. Consistently, people know, as we can see here, there is a difference between what we all want and we know will work in our bodies and what we have now. And if you look at the differences, you can see quite quickly that the top is non-linear and the bottom is linear. It's why so many of you are here. You are interested in circularity, often to do with waste streams and resources. And it makes sense. There's no straight lines in nature. Nature doesn't do linear. Trees grow and then they stop at some point. In fact, all living systems thrive on circulation, and they die when they have an accumulation, just like if oxygen doesn't flow to all parts of our body, we get necrosis and a limb will die. And I say this not just as a cute exercise, but to encourage you all working in this sustainability space to know that every single person you are engaging with has the same story inside of them. So really, it's about how do we bring people into a conversation that is already inside them? How do we engage people in ways that deals with the denial that some people are in about this story? Because lots of people will tell you we already have a market economy, for example, that circulates goods in an efficient way. But why would they draw then these symbols? Why does everyone draw these symbols? For me, this piece about circulation is at the center of where we are needing to go. To move from the stock market graphic to the circle. That transition that we are being called towards. And how do I assess things in this world in terms of, are they moving us closer to the circle? Well, for me, it comes down to a test in the things that we are doing. Does an activity, policy, or approach increase the overall circulation of money, power, and resources without simultaneously increasing the overall accumulation of any of those things? And you'll see there I added in money and power in addition to resources. For me, this is a central piece if we are actually looking at the core of some of the challenges here. A lot of work, and particularly I imagine within the KÖVET space, within this network, within many of you who work in waste management and the like, there is a real uptick in the last 10, 15 years in the circular economy, looking at waste streams, life cycle analysis, carbon footprint measures, etc. And that's such an important piece in this puzzle. But I would say that there are two pieces inside of this that are even more central, and that we have some opportunities to explore in order to make the work we are doing in this outer ring here even more effective. Inside that ring, we have the circulation of power. How do we actually, in our communities, in our businesses, in our societies, ensure there is a greater circulation of power rather than concentration? How do we use dynamic governance or sociocracy or these kinds of tools, or participatory democracy, or citizens' referendum, or citizen science panels, and these sorts of things to actually ensure that there's a more widespread input into the work we are doing? Because even in a market economy, with greater input, we get a whole lot more chance for innovation when it's done in a container that is conducive to exploration. But I would say that there's one thing that is even more central than the circulation of resources and power, and that's the circulation of money. Just like blood and oxygen are central to the circulation in our own circulatory system, money is the lifeblood of a market economy. And in a capitalist system, money constantly accumulates. It's part of the inbuilt premise in such a system. And that's problematic, actually, in terms of what happens with respect to debt and the association between money and debt. When we see monetary accumulation, we see a challenge in terms of the pressures that debt, the equivalent debt, puts on households, on governments, and even on businesses, especially small business. So I'm interested here in just leaving you with a few thoughts as people passionate about sustainability, passionate about moving towards that better world, on a few of the things that you can do that you maybe haven't thought of before, maybe you have, that complement the work that you are already doing in sustainability. There are 5 things I want to share. It's interesting to me that we are holding this event inside a community bank, because the first and most powerful thing that I think people can do with respect to money is to move your money. To actually move, look at where your money is, if you have any money in a bank or in a financial institution, and to say, can I move it over to a more ethical form of bank? Can I move it to a more local bank? Can I move it to a credit union? Can I move it to a foundation-owned bank? Because moving money is not just moving the amount you have in the account. I have a lot of friends who are students or have very low, small bank accounts, and they say to me, look, moving my small amount of money is not going to make any difference. And there are even people who have supported the divestment campaigns with the universities that they're at, etc., getting money moved out of fossil fuel support. But they say moving my money from, you know, one of the big banks in the US over to a credit union will make no difference. And then I explained to them fractional reserve banking and how when you move 100 US dollars, for example, or 100 euros from one bank to another, you're not just moving 100 euros or 100 US dollars, you are moving the ability for the bank to lend based on that, which is much, much more. In some countries, you might be moving the equivalent of about 2,000 euros just by moving 100 euros from one bank to the other in terms of the lending power. That's an incredibly powerful thing. Where our money is in the sustainability sphere is an incredibly powerful thing. And likewise, where our investments are an powerful thing. It's only just now in the US, where I'm based, that we are really starting to see avenues for local investment, where if you want to start businesses that are focused on sustainability, for example, that there are mechanisms for local investment, usually using debt mechanisms. And this kind of thing, being at the edge, is a space I encourage you to look into. If you have pension funds or investment funds or any money that's in some kind of investment, and you are passionate about the environment, to actually look critically and to put pressure on the places where your investments are, to see whether or not there are some better options. And of course, yes, this may mean that it reduces the return on your investment. But at the same time, it could be part of the sustainability for your retirement, etc., that is important to your own life and way of being. Investing in that local hospital, for example, rather than in a multinational fund where you don't know where the money is invested. I think there's huge agency in actually taking the time to examine it. Even if you spend just an hour or two looking at your portfolio and thinking, can I make some shifts there out of equity markets into something that is a little more local or a little more tangible, a little more real? And then the last three, there's been an incredible shift, and it's continuing throughout COVID, where people are choosing to move their labor, move out of big for-profit multinational companies where they feel perhaps less valued and doing work that sometimes feels disconnected from the sustainability that we're interested in bringing through to actually more purpose-driven companies. Thinking about, where do you want to work? Where is it that your talents can best be in congruence with that circulation? Working for a company where money circulates, for example. Maybe it's a cooperative, maybe it's a consumer cooperative or a worker cooperative. Maybe it's working for the public service. Maybe it's in a non-profit. Maybe it's in an NGO like KÖVET that has a business model as well, that does consultancy work and runs membership. You know, these kind of models where no one's getting rich from running KÖVET. There's no private individual owners, right? So the money that gets put in as for membership fees is circulating. These are interesting models because they fit with the sustainability model more generally. And even moving your attention, thinking about looking at the way the market economy works and thinking about which businesses actually fit this circular model. Which ones talk a lot about it? Which ones do some things with respect to materials? But then which ones actually are circular with power and money as well? Thinking a little more deeply about how do we move towards the circle in a more general sense. And lastly, to think about how you can advocate, especially in the realm of legislation. How can you play a role in creating a more circular economy with respect to materials, resources, power, and money? How can you support the kinds of businesses that are driven by purpose? To me, this is a piece of this puzzle that you are all passionate about and working on. And it's a central piece. And it's the key, I think, in the next 20, 30 years for us to shift. Oops, let me go back there. Would you open that again? Sorry, I went one too far. Shifting to this full circle economy. I'm actually finished now, but it was the final slide. So yes, so that piece of shifting to a full circle economy that really holds, we'll just shift through here. Yes, shifting to that world that builds on the internal wisdom where we began this presentation. Your body knows that there is a different kind of future that we need that is circular. And there are ways we can get there, but it means looking outside a little bit of just the sustainability piece to think about what other ways can we create circulation in the economy. And I truly believe that when we take that deeper look, that together we can get to that full circle economy that our hearts know and desire. Thank you.